Al-Kabri was a Palestinian Arab town in the Galilee located 12.5 kilometers northeast of Acre. It was captured by the Jewish forces the 21st of May 1948, a week after the State of Israel was declared. In 1945, it had a population of 1,520 and a total area cultivated of 20,617 dunams. It is near the site of Tel Kabri. History. In the 13th century, Al-Kabri was known as Loquiebra, and belonged to the fief of Khazal-Imbert. In 1253, King Henry granted the whole estate of Khazal-Imbert, including Loquiebra, to John of Ibelin. Shortly after, in 1256, John of Ibelin leased Arizona-Zeb and all its dependent villages, including Loquiebra, to the Teutonic Order for 10 years. In 1261, Arizona-Zeb, together with Lafayette and Loquiebra, were sold to the Teutonic Order, in return for an annual sum for as long as Acre was in Crusader hands. In 1283, it was still a part of the Crusader states, as it was mentioned under the name Al-Kabri, as part of the domain in the Hudna between the Crusaders based in Acre and the Mamluk Sultan al-Mansur Khalon. According to al-Makrizi, it was under Mamluk rule by 1291, as it was mentioned under the name of Al-Kabira in that year when Sultan al-Ashraf Khalil allocated the town's income to a charitable organization in Cairo. Ottoman-era Al-Kabri was incorporated into the Ottoman Empire in 1517, and by 1596 it was part of Nahia of Acre, part of Safad Sanjak with an all-Muslim population of 10 households. Taxes were paid on wheat, barley, summer crops, cotton, occasional revenues, beehives and/or goats. In Pierre Jacotin's map from 1799 the village was called Kabli. The place was well known for its springs, including Ain Mafshu, Ain Fawwa, Ain Al-Hassel, and Ain Kabri. The number of springs made Al-Kabri the main supplier of water in the district of Acre. Ancient aquifers supplied water from the springs to Acre, and 2 additional canals were built by Ahmad Pasha al-Jaza in 1800, and Suleiman Pasha al-Adil in 1814. In 1875, the French explorer Victor Guérin visited the village. Many of the houses are built of good materials, which seem ancient. They are constructed of stones finely cut, mixed with simple rubble, perfectly jointed by means of little stones so placed as to fill up spaces and to make the whole compact. The site of an ancient church, now completely destroyed, is still, to a certain extent, to be traced. Many columns have been removed from it, and numbers of cut stones of medium size. Above the village, the ruins of houses prove that the place was once much more populous than now. At 25 minutes walk from Al-Kabri is a spring called Neba Fuara, formerly received in a basin, of which the foundations only are now visible. It runs away in a considerable stream, which waters several gardens. Enormous fig trees show the extraordinary fruitfulness of the soil. A little farther I pass along arcades entirely covered with high bushes, which form part of the aqueduct of Al-Kabri. The ground rises here, so that the canal supported by these arcades is at the level of the ground, then it disappears altogether, reappearing again, according to the level of the ground. Al-Kabri is in a very advantageous position, thanks to its precious springs, which must always have caused the foundation of a group, more or less considerable, of houses. The name of Kabri shows that it was once called Obara, a name given by Josephus to a place in another part of Galilee. It contains 2 abundant springs. One is received in a reservoir similar to that of Atel, and from there, by an opening made expressly, the water runs off in a cascade to turn mills and water gardens. The second spring gushes from the bottom of a kind of vaulted cave into to which one descends by steps, and it feeds the aqueduct, which, sometimes subterranean, sometimes on the level of the ground, sometimes borne in arcades, supplies Acre with water. Reconstructed by Jeza Pasha at the end of the last century, this aqueduct has succeeded one much older, of which traces yet remain. Besides these two springs there is a third not far off, called Anjajan, of equal importance, which fertilizes the proverbially fruitful territory of Kabri. In 1881 the Palestine Exploration Fund's survey of Western Palestine described the village as a village built of stone, containing about 400 Muslims, situated on the edge of the plain, with gardens and olives, figs and mulberries, apples and pomegranates. There is a large spring and bucket here, at which the aqueduct conveying water to Acre commences. British Mandate period. In the 1922 census of Palestine conducted by the British Mandate authorities, Al-Kabri had a population of 553, all Muslims, increasing in the 1931 census to 728 Muslims in 173 houses. During this period, Al-Kabri's houses were built of stone, mud, and reinforced concrete. The village contained a mosque and a boys' elementary school. Agriculture was the base of the economy, with villages cultivating olives, citrus, and bananas, and engaged in animal husbandry, including raising cattle. The population grew to 1,530 in 1945, still all Muslim. Together with the nearby Tarshiha, the villages had 47,428 dunams of land at this time. Of this, a total of 743 dunams of land in the two villages was used for citrus and bananas, 5,301 were plantation and irrigable land, 14,123 for cereals, while 252 dunams were built-up land. 1948 War and aftermath. Al-Kabri was first badly shaken by the Palmach raid on the village on the night of 31st of January, the 1st of February 1948, in which the house of the main al-Husseini affiliated notable, Faiz Effendi Sirhan, was partly demolished by a huge explosion. After this, Sirhan and his family fled to Lebanon. On the 27th of March 1948, the Yehiam convoy bringing supplies to besieged Kibbutz Yehiam was attacked while passing by Al-Kabri, and 46 Haganah members were killed. In April 1948, the Haganah prepared an initial blueprint for an operation called Acre.It, which provided for attacks on Al-Kabri, Al-Nafha, Al-Bassa and Al-Zib for the destruction of the gangs, the menfolk, the destruction of property. The village was likely occupied on the night of 2021 May during the second stage of Operation Ben Ami, by which time most of the inhabitants had fled. During the dispersal in Galilee, some of the villagers were killed when it was discovered that they came from Al-Kabri. In retaliation for the convoy ambush, according to Palestinian historian Walid Khalidi, the remaining structures in Al-Kabri's lands in 1992 were crumbled walls and stone rubble, overgrown with thorns, weeds, and bushes. A Jewish community by the same name, Kabri, was built on land adjacent to the site of the Palestinian village, which is also for agriculture and pasture land. Bibliography.